Get ready for a hilarious enemies to lovers workplace romance. Elias Thompson, a Berkeley coder, accidentally spills coffee on Jessica Northrup, the Ice Queen business major. Forced to partner on Elias's startup, ConnectSphere, they clash over everything from strategy to snacks. Can this brilliant but messy coder and the fiercely ambitious strategist overcome their rivalry to turn their platform into a million-user success story and maybe fall in love along the way? From coffee spill to startup deal, the accidental partnership of a Berkeley coder and business ice queen. Chapter 1. The worst day of my life so far. Let me tell you about the day my life decided to become a romantic comedy, and not the good kind with charming meet-cutes and witty banter. No, this was more like the kind where you trip over your own feet, spill coffee on someone important, and then have to work with them for the next 6 months. Spoiler alert, that's exactly what happened. My name is Elias Thompson, and before you start feeling sorry for me because I'm an orphan, don't. I'm doing just fine, thank you very much. Sure, I grew up in the California foster care system, bouncing between families like a particularly unwanted ping pong ball, but look at me now, 19 years old, studying computer science at Berkeley, and the creator of ConnectSphere, a social media platform that had just hit 50,000 users overnight. 50,000 users. I should have been celebrating. I should have been popping champagne or, cheap beer because student budget. Instead, I was standing in the middle of the Haas School of Business building watching expensive coffee drip down the cream-colored blouse of Jessica Northrup, Berkeley's very own Ice Queen. "Are you kidding me right now?" she said, her voice so cold I could practically see my breath fog up between us. "I am so sorry," I stammered, holding my empty cup like an idiot. "I didn't see you." "Clearly." She held her arms out from her body, examining the damage with the kind of clinical detachment usually reserved for crime scene investigators. "This is Burberry." "Gesundheit?" Her eyes, ice blue, naturally, snapped up to meet mine. That wasn't a sneeze. That was a designer label. This blouse cost more than your monthly rent. "Bold of you to assume I pay rent," I shot back, then immediately regretted it, because why? Why did I think that was a good response? But here's the thing about Jessica Northrup. Everyone at Berkeley knew her. 20 years old, business and economics double major, president of the Entrepreneurship Society, and rumored to have turned down internships at Goldman Sachs and McKinsey because they weren't challenging enough. She came from old money, the kind of old money where her family probably knew the Rockefellers personally and complained about how nouveau rich the tech billionaires were. She was also, objectively speaking, gorgeous. Blonde hair, always perfectly styled, features that looked like they'd been carved by a Renaissance sculptor, and a wardrobe that made the rest of us look like we shopped exclusively at thrift stores, which, for the record, I absolutely did. But her beauty was the kind that warned you away, like those brightly colored poisonous frogs in the Amazon. "Just stay away from me," she said, turning on her heel with a precision that would make a drill sergeant weep with pride. "With pleasure," I called after her, then muttered under my breath, "Ice Queen." I heard that. Of course she did. Chapter 2. When Your Life Becomes a Sitcom. 3 days later, I was sitting in Professor Martinez's office, feeling pretty good about myself. He'd called me in to discuss ConnectSphere, and I was already mentally drafting my acceptance speech for when he told me how impressed he was. "Elias, what you've built is genuinely impressive," Professor Martinez said, stroking his beard thoughtfully. He was one of those professors who looked like he'd wandered out of a Silicon Valley think tank, all black turtlenecks and rectangular glasses. "Thank you, Professor. I've been working on it for..." "Which is why I'm assigning you a partner." The needle scratched across the record of my life. I'm sorry, what? "A business partner. You've created something with incredible potential, but you're a computer science major, Elias. You need someone who understands market analysis, financial projections, user acquisition strategies." "I can Google all that," I protested. "And I have the perfect person in mind." There was a knock at the door, and I swear to you, I knew with the certainty of a man watching his own execution that when that door opened, it would be her. Jessica Northrup walked in like she owned the place, which, given her family's donation record, she probably did. "You've got to be kidding me," we said in unison, then glared at each other. Professor Martinez looked between us with the kind of confused concern usually reserved for defusing bombs. "You two know each other?" "He assaulted my blouse with coffee," Jessica said flatly. "I did not assault, it was an accident." An accident that cost me $300 in dry cleaning. $300 for dry cleaning? Do they use holy water blessed by the Pope? Professor Martinez held up his hands. Okay, let's all take a breath.
Jessica, Elias has created a social media platform that's gaining serious traction. Elias, Jessica has been studying under me for 2 years and has one of the sharpest business minds I've encountered. You're both exceptional in your fields, which is why you need each other. I don't need anyone, I said. I work alone, Jessica said simultaneously. We glared at each other again. Professor Martinez sighed the sigh of a man who'd made a terrible mistake but was too committed to back out now. "I'm making this a requirement for both your independent study credits. You have 6 months to present a viable business plan for ConnectSphere. Together." "This is ridiculous," I said. "This is cruel and unusual punishment," Jessica added. "This is non-negotiable," Professor Martinez said with finality. "My office, Friday at 3. Bring your preliminary ideas. Dismissed." Chapter 3. The Art of War, but Make It Awkward. Our first official meeting took place at the Student Union, neutral territory, because apparently we were countries negotiating a peace treaty now. I arrived 10 minutes early with my laptop, a notebook, and enough energy drinks to kill a small horse. Jessica arrived exactly on time, because of course she did, carrying what looked like a leather portfolio that probably cost more than my entire laptop. "Shall we begin?" she said, sitting down across from me with the enthusiasm of someone attending a root canal. "Let's get one thing straight," I said, leaning forward. "This is my platform. I built it. The code is mine." "And let's get this straight," she countered, leaning forward too, so we were almost nose to nose. "Without proper business strategy, your platform will die a sad death in the mass grave of failed startups. Do you know how many social media platforms get launched every year?" "Do you know how many business majors it takes to screw in a light bulb?" I shot back. "Is this supposed to be a joke?" "None. They hire a consultant to do it." Her expression didn't change. "Hilarious. Are you quite finished?" I sat back. "For now." "Good. Now, I've reviewed ConnectSphere." She pulled out a tablet, of course she had an iPad Pro, and began swiping through what looked like a very detailed analysis. "The interface is clean, the niche focus on hobby communities is smart, and the verification system you've implemented for specialized knowledge is actually innovative." I blinked. Was that a compliment? It was an objective assessment. "Don't let it go to your head," she continued. "However, your monetization strategy is non-existent, your user retention metrics are decent but not exceptional, and your marketing consists of what appears to be posting on Reddit and hoping for the best." "Hey, Reddit is a legitimate marketing." "No, it isn't. Have you even been on Reddit? I have better things to do with my time than read conspiracy theories and look at cat pictures. Those are literally the 2 best uses of the internet." She pinched the bridge of her nose. "This is going to be a very long 6 months. Trust me, the feeling is mutual, Ice Queen." Her eyes snapped to mine. "What did you just call me?" "Nothing, sorry, it slipped out." I shifted uncomfortably. "It's just what people... Never mind." "No, go ahead, tell me what people say." Her voice was dangerous now, the kind of quiet that precedes volcanic eruptions. "Look, I didn't mean... I know exactly what people say about me. Cold, heartless, unfeeling, the Ice Queen of Berkeley." She pronounced each word with surgical precision. "Because apparently a woman can't be ambitious and focused without being emotionally deficient." I had the good sense to feel ashamed. "That's not fair. You're right." She looked surprised, like she'd been gearing up for an argument and I'd pulled the rug out from under her. "Oh."
I'm serious. I shouldn't have said that. You've been nothing but professional, and I've been... I searched for the word. Defensive? Territorial? Childish? I was going to say protective of my work, but sure, those work too. The corner of her mouth twitched. It wasn't quite a smile, but it was something. Progress. Truce? I offered my hand across the table. She looked at it like it might be a trap, then shook it once. Her hand was warm, which surprised me. I don't know what I expected. Ice, maybe? But it was just a normal human hand. Truce, but I'm still in charge of the business strategy. And I'm still in charge of the tech. Agreed. Now let's actually get some work done. Chapter 4, The Devil Wears Business Casual. Over the next few weeks, Jessica and I fell into an uneasy rhythm. We met 3 times a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays at the library, Sundays at a coffee shop. Not the same one where I'd committed the great blouse incident of 2024. She'd arrive with color-coded folders and detailed agendas. I'd arrive with my laptop and whatever snacks I'd grabbed from my apartment. "Do you ever eat actual food?" she asked one Tuesday, watching me open my 3rd bag of chips. "This is actual food. Potatoes are vegetables." "That's not how nutrition works," says the person who's been drinking black coffee for 2 hours straight. Coffee is a bean, also a vegetable. "That's definitely not how nutrition works." She almost smiled again. I was getting better at spotting them, these tiny cracks in her Ice Queen facade. They were rare, like seeing a shooting star, but they were there. The weird thing was, as much as I hated to admit it, Jessica knew her stuff. She'd created a comprehensive market analysis, identified our target demographics, and developed a monetization strategy that didn't involve selling user data to the highest bidder. "Premium features," she explained, showing me her presentation. "Hobby community leaders can pay for advanced moderation tools, analytics, and custom branding. We keep the basic platform free, which maintains user growth, but offer value-added services for power users." That's actually really smart. Don't sound so surprised. It's conflicting. No, I mean it. I've been so focused on building features that I never really thought about the business side. "That's why you need me," she said matter-of-factly. "Confident much?" It's not confidence if it's simply accurate. The thing about working closely with someone is that you start to notice things, like how Jessica always ordered the same thing, medium black coffee, no sugar, no cream. How she clicked her pen exactly 3 times when she was thinking. How her handwriting was so perfect it looked like a font. How she always arrived exactly on time, never early, never late. I also noticed that she was always alone. I'd see her around campus sometimes, walking between classes, sitting in the library, eating lunch, always by herself, always focused on whatever she was working on. It made sense. When you have a reputation as the Ice Queen, people probably don't rush to sit with you. Not that I cared, obviously. I was just observing. For science. Chapter 5. The Crack in the Ice. It happened during our 4th week of partnership. We were working late in the library. Or rather, I was working late and Jessica had refused to leave until we finished our competitive analysis, because apparently she couldn't go home knowing there was incomplete work in the universe. "You know you don't have to stay," I said, stifling a yawn. It was almost midnight, and the library was nearly empty, except for a few other desperate students and one guy who appeared to be asleep on a textbook. "We need to finish this section," she insisted, but I caught her rubbing her eyes. "Jessica, we can finish tomorrow. You look exhausted." "I'm fine." "You've been working on this for 6 hours straight." "I'm fine. Even robots need to recharge." She looked up at me, and for a second, I saw something in her expression. A flash of hurt, maybe, before the professional mask slammed back down. "I'm not a robot." "I didn't mean..." "Yes, you did. That's what everyone means. Cold, mechanical, unfeeling." She started gathering her papers with sharp, upset movements. "You know what? You're right. Let's call it a night." "Wait, Jessica. I'll email you my notes." She was already heading for the exit. I sat there for a moment, feeling like an absolute jackass, then grabbed my stuff and ran after her. I caught up with her outside the library, where she was standing under a streetlight, taking deep breaths of the cold night air. "I'm sorry," I said. "That was a stupid thing to say." "It's fine. I'm used to it." It's not fine, and you shouldn't have to be used to it. I moved to stand next to her, both of us looking out at the darkened campus. For what it's worth, I don't think you're a robot. Robots are programmed. You're something else entirely. What, an ice queen? There was no venom in it, just tired resignation. Focused, brilliant, maybe a little scary, but in a good way? She let out a sound that might have been a laugh. A good way to be scary? Sure, like how sharks are scary. Terrifying, apex predators, but also kind of magnificent. Did you just compare me to a shark? Is that not a compliment? I meant it as a compliment. This time she definitely laughed. A real, genuine laugh that transformed her entire face. You're very weird, Elias Thompson. I prefer charmingly eccentric. No, definitely just weird. We stood there in comfortable silence for a moment. The campus was beautiful at night, all Gothic architecture and strategically placed lighting that made everything look like a movie set. Can I ask you something? I said carefully. Why do you work so hard? And I don't mean that as a criticism. I'm genuinely curious. She was quiet for so long I thought she might not answer. Then, because it's what I'm good at. I'm not good at making friends or small talk or whatever it is that makes people like you so effortlessly social. But business, strategy, that makes sense to me. It has rules and logic, and if you work hard enough, you get results. People aren't that different, I said. They have patterns too, if you know how to look. Maybe, but with business, if something goes wrong, I can fix it. With people, she trailed off. With people, it's messy and complicated, and you can't just run a SWOT analysis on your relationships. Exactly. For what it's worth, I said, I think you're better with people than you give yourself credit for. She looked at me skeptically. I dumped my last boyfriend via PowerPoint presentation. I choked on air. I'm sorry, you what? He appreciated the clarity and the supporting data. Jessica, you can't break up with someone via PowerPoint. Why not? It was efficient. Slide 1, the current state of our relationship. Slide 2, identified problems. Slide 3, attempted solutions. Slide 4, conclusion and next steps. I was laughing so hard I had tears in my eyes. What were the next steps? Logistics of separating our belongings, and a timeline for transitioning from romantic partners to neutral acquaintances. Did you have charts? Of course I had charts. How else would I illustrate the declining trend in relationship satisfaction? You're insane. You're absolutely insane. It worked, didn't it? Clean break. No drama. Yeah, because you traumatized him into silence. She was smiling now, really smiling, and I realized with a jolt that she was actually beautiful when she smiled. Not the cold, perfect beauty of her usual expression, but something warmer, more human. Come on, I said impulsively. I'm hungry, and you need real food that isn't coffee. It's midnight. Nothing's open. That's where you're wrong. There's a diner about 10 minutes from here that serves the greasiest, most disgustingly delicious food you'll ever eat. 24 hours. I don't eat greasy food. Of course you don't. Come on anyway. Consider it a cultural experience. She looked like she was going to say no, then surprised both of us by saying, fine, but if I get food poisoning, I'm blaming you. Noted and accepted. Chapter 6, The Great Diner Experiment. The diner was called Pete's, which wasn't creative, but was at least honest. It had red vinyl booths, a checkerboard floor, and a jukebox that only played songs from the 1950s. At midnight on a Thursday, it was populated by a mix of truckers, night shift workers, and students who'd made poor life choices. This place is... Jessica looked around like she'd landed on an alien planet. Amazing, wonderful, a perfect representation of American culinary tradition? I was going to say a health code violation waiting to happen. Sit, please, you're going to love this. We slid into a booth and a waitress who looked about 100 years old shuffled over with menus. What'll it be, kids? 2 orders of cheese fries, 2 chocolate milkshakes, and... I looked at Jessica. You eat burgers? I've eaten a burger before, Elias. I'm not an alien. Could have fooled me. Make that 2 burgers, medium rare. Well done, Jessica interjected. Medium rare. I insist. Trust me on this. The waitress cackled and walked away, apparently unbothered by our dispute. I can't believe you ordered for me, Jessica said, but she didn't seem actually upset about it. You can send them back if you hate it, but you won't. How are you so confident? Because I'm right about everything. That's statistically impossible. Watch and learn, Northrup. While we waited for our food, I learned that Jessica had a younger brother at Stanford, the traitor, parents who were fine, I guess, in the most loaded 3-word phrase I'd ever heard, and a secret addiction to reality TV shows. No way! You watch reality TV? It's a guilty pleasure, she admitted, looking embarrassed for maybe the first time since I'd known her. There's something fascinating about watching people make terrible decisions in real time. What shows? Promise you won't judge. I promise nothing, but tell me anyway. The Bachelor. I gasped dramatically. Jessica Northrup, Ice Queen of Berkeley, watches The Bachelor? It's a fascinating study in game theory and social dynamics. It's people getting drunk and fighting over a guy who probably works in finance. Yes, exactly. It's like watching a train wreck of human psychology. Our food arrived, and I watched Jessica's expression as she took her first bite of the burger. Her eyes widened. Oh my God, right? She took another bite. This is really good. Told you. The cheese is probably going to give me a heart attack. Worth it, though. Completely worth it. We ate in companionable silence for a while, and I found myself studying her when she wasn't looking. Without the armor of designer clothes and perfect posture, sitting in a dingy diner at midnight eating a burger that was definitely going to stain her shirt, she looked different, younger, more relaxed. Like maybe, just maybe, there was a real person under all that ice. Stop staring at me, she said without looking up. I'm not staring, I'm observing. That's the same thing. It's really not. Observing is more academic. You're weird, she said again, but this time it sounded almost affectionate. You mentioned that. So about ConnectSphere? Nope, no work talk. Those are the rules. What rules? The rules of late-night diner food. You made me come here, which means we're in a non-work zone. No business talk allowed. Oh, we're making up rules now? Yes, my diner, my rules. This isn't your diner. I've claimed it. Deal with it. I laughed and stole one of her fries. She stabbed at my hand with her fork, but she was smiling. Tell me about the orphan thing, she said suddenly. Wow, smooth transition. I'm serious. You mention it so casually, like it's a fun fact about yourself, but that must have been hard. I shrugged, suddenly uncomfortable. It was what it was. Some foster homes were okay, some were less okay. I kept my head down, got good grades, got scholarships. Happy ending. That's not a happy ending. That's you surviving. Same difference. It's really not. I met her eyes, and there was something there I hadn't seen before. Genuine concern, maybe even understanding. What about you? You never talk about your family. There's not much to talk about. Father's a venture capitalist, mother sits on various charity boards, brother's at Stanford studying law. We're very, she searched for the word, functional. Functional? Everyone has their role. Everyone performs it adequately.
No drama, no mess. No love? She looked startled. I didn't say that. You didn't have to. We looked at each other across the table, and I felt something shift between us. Some wall coming down maybe, or just a recognition that we were both more complicated than we'd initially thought. We're a mess, I said finally. The orphan with abandonment issues and the rich girl who breaks up with people via PowerPoint. Allegedly, she corrected, and it was one time. Once was enough. He liked it. He was traumatized. We dissolved into laughter, and the old waitress came by to refill our milkshakes, looking at us like we were completely insane. Which, fair. Chapter 7, When Everything Goes Wrong. 3 weeks later, ConnectSphere crashed. Not like, oh no, the site is slow, crashed. Like completely, catastrophically, every user locked out crashed.
I got the alerts at 3 a.m. and immediately rolled out of bed, my heart hammering. The code was corrupted. Somehow, some way, the latest update had introduced a bug that cascaded through the entire system. I spent the next 6 hours frantically trying to fix it, fueled by panic and energy drinks, while my phone blew up with notifications. Users were upset. Users were leaving. My beautiful platform, my creation, was dying in real time. At 9 a.m., there was a knock on my apartment door. I opened it to find Jessica standing there with a bag of bagels and actual real coffee. "You look like death," she said, pushing past me into my apartment. "Thanks. Really feeling the support right now." "When did it crash?" 3 hours ago. Jessica, I can't fix it. I've tried everything and I just keep making it worse." She set down the coffee and bagels, then turned to face me. "Okay, deep breaths. Walk me through what happened." "I'm not sure that..." "Elias, walk me through it." So I did. I showed her the code, explained the update, pointed out where everything went wrong. She didn't understand the technical details, but she asked questions, good questions, that forced me to think through the problem logically instead of panicking. "You need help," she said finally. "I don't know anyone who..." "Yes, you do. That forum you're always on, the programming one, didn't you say there were some really good developers there?" "Stack Overflow? Yeah, but..." "So post about the problem. Offer equity, offer payment, whatever it takes. You can't fix this alone, and that's okay." "Jessica, I can't just give away equity in my company." "Our company," she corrected. "Like it or not, we're partners now, and partners help each other. Now post the damn message before we lose more users." I did, and within 2 hours, I had 3 experienced developers offering to help, including one who'd faced the exact same issue before. It took the rest of the day, but we got the platform back up and running. More importantly, I learned something wasn't weakness, it was strategy. Jessica stayed the entire time. She didn't understand what we were doing, but she ordered food, made coffee, and dealt with all the upset emails flooding our support inbox. She turned potential disasters into reassured users with such smooth professionalism that I half expected her to bill them afterwards. By 9 p.m., ConnectSphere was back online. I'd eaten my body weight in Chinese takeout, and I was so exhausted I could barely see straight. "You should sleep," Jessica said, closing her laptop. "You should too. You've been here all day." "Yeah, well," she shrugged, looking uncharacteristically uncertain. "That's what partners do, right?" I looked at her, really looked at her. Her perfect hair was messy for once, coming loose from whatever complicated thing she'd done to it that morning. She had dark circles under her eyes. There was a soy sauce stain on her shirt. She looked human and real and more beautiful than I'd ever seen her. "Thank you," I said quietly. "I couldn't have done this without you." "I know. That's why I'm here." "Have I mentioned that your confidence is both attractive and deeply annoying?" She froze. I froze. We both realized what I'd just said. "I mean, that came out wrong. I just meant..." "Elias?" "Yeah?" "Shut up. Shutting up now." She gathered her things with jerky movements, not looking at me. "I should go. It's late." "Jessica, wait. See you Friday for our meeting with Professor Martinez." She was already at the door. "About what I said, it's fine. We're tired. People say stupid things when they're tired. Forgotten already." She left before I could say anything else. I stood there in my disaster of an apartment, surrounded by empty takeout containers and coffee cups, and realized with absolute certainty that I was an idiot. Not because I'd called her attractive, but because I'd meant it. Chapter 8. The Presentation That Changed Everything. The next few meetings were awkward. We were both aggressively professional, carefully avoiding any topic that wasn't directly related to ConnectSphere. It was like we'd gone backwards, back to being strangers who happened to be working together. I hated it. But I didn't know how to fix it, and apparently neither did she, so we just kept going, working, planning, preparing for our presentation to Professor Martinez and the panel of actual venture capitalists he'd invited to evaluate our business plan. No pressure or anything. The day of the presentation, I wore my one good shirt, and by good, I mean not actively falling apart. Jessica showed up in a suit that probably cost more than my car, looking every inch the successful businesswoman she was destined to become. "You ready for this?" I asked as we waited outside the conference room. "Are you?" "Not even a little bit." "Good."
Nervous is good. Nervous means you care. When did you become wise? I've always been wise. You're just now noticing. I laughed despite my nerves, and just for a second, she smiled at me. A real smile, not the professional mask she'd been wearing for the past week. "Hey, Jessica?" "Yeah?" "Whatever happens in there, I'm glad it was you. As a partner, I mean. I couldn't have done this with anyone else." She looked at me for a long moment, and I couldn't read her expression. Let's go wow some venture capitalists. The presentation was, well, it was either brilliant or a complete disaster. I handled the technical demonstration, showing how ConnectSphere worked, explaining the unique features, the user base growth, the potential for scaling. Jessica handled everything else: market analysis, competitive advantage, financial projections, monetization strategy. We were good together, really good. Our sections flowed naturally, and when the VCs asked questions, we backed each other up without missing a beat. It felt like we'd been doing this for years instead of weeks. When we finished, Professor Martinez was beaming. The VCs looked intrigued. One of them, a woman in her 50s who had apparently made her fortune in social media, leaned forward. "This is impressive work, both of you. The platform has genuine potential, and your business strategy is sound." She paused. "I'd like to make an offer." My heart stopped. "Pending due diligence, I'm prepared to invest $500,000 for a 20% stake in the company." I looked at Jessica, she looked at me. $500,000, 20%. It was real. This was actually happening. "Can we have a moment to discuss?" Jessica asked, smooth as silk, despite the fact that I knew she must be internally screaming. "Of course, take your time." We stepped out into the hallway, and the second the door closed, we both started talking at once. "Holy crap! Did she just... 500,000! This is insane!" We stopped, laughed, and Jessica grabbed my hands. "Elias, this is it. This is actually happening. Because of you, your business plan, your strategy. Because of us, your platform, your vision, we did this together." She was right. We had done it together. And standing there, her hands in mine, both of us grinning like idiots, I realized that somewhere along the way, this had stopped being about the company. Or maybe it had never been just about the company. "We should probably go back in there and accept before she changes her mind," Jessica said. "Probably. Or we could stand here a little longer and just process." "Process?" "Yeah, big moment. Should probably appreciate it." "Is this your way of holding my hands without making it weird? Is it working?" "Not even a little bit." But she still didn't let go. We went back in and accepted the offer. Paperwork would follow. Due diligence would take a few weeks, but it was real. We were real. ConnectSphere was going to be an actual company, not just a side project. After the VCs left and Professor Martinez congratulated us again, Jessica and I found ourselves standing outside the building, the afternoon sun making everything feel surreal and golden. "So," I said, "we're business partners now, officially." "We were always business partners officially. Now we're just business partners with funding." "Right, yes, very professional." "Extremely professional." "The most professional." We were standing too close. I could see the flecks of darker blue in her eyes, could smell whatever expensive perfume she wore that probably cost more than my laptop. "Elias?" "Yeah?" "About what you said, before, when you called me attractive." My face went hot. "I'm really sorry about..." "I didn't say I minded." I stopped breathing. "Oh?" "In fact, if we're being completely honest, which apparently we're doing now, I've thought you were attractive since the coffee incident, even while I was contemplating murder." "That's confusing, but good. I'm going to go with good." "You're also annoying and unprofessional, and you eat nothing but junk food, and your apartment is a disaster." "Okay, less good now." "But you're also brilliant and kind, and you care about things more than you want to admit.
And somewhere in the last 2 months, you went from being the most annoying person I've ever met to being, she trailed off. To being what? Someone I'd really like to kiss right now. Oh, I am extremely okay with that development. The thing is, she continued, and I could see her shifting into business mode, which was hilarious and also very her. We're business partners now, real business partners with a real company and real money on the line. Mixing business with personal relationships is generally considered a terrible idea. Generally, I agreed. Statistics on workplace romances are not encouraging. Not encouraging at all. We could lose everything we've built. We absolutely could. So, logically, rationally, we should probably maintain professional boundaries. Completely logical. We stared at each other. But, I prompted, but I really, really don't want to be logical right now. Best news I've heard all day. I kissed her, or she kissed me. Honestly, we kind of met in the middle, and it was perfect. She tasted like coffee and ambition and something sweet I couldn't identify. Her hands fisted in my shirt, and I wrapped my arms around her waist, and somewhere in the distance, I heard someone wolf whistle, but I couldn't bring myself to care. When we finally broke apart, both breathing hard, she looked dazed. That was unprofessional, she said. Extremely. We should probably not do that again. Probably not. At least not in public. I grinned. So private is okay? I'm willing to explore the possibility. You know, for someone who broke up with her last boyfriend via PowerPoint, you're surprisingly romantic. She smacked my arm. Shut up about the PowerPoint. Never. That's my favorite Jessica fact. You have favorite Jessica facts? So many. Did you know you click your pen exactly 3 times when you're thinking? And you always order the same coffee? And when you laugh, really laugh, not the polite fake laugh, your nose crinkles a little bit. She stared at me. You noticed all that? I notice a lot of things about you. It's kind of a problem, actually. Elias Thompson, are you saying you've been pining for me? Pining is a strong word. I prefer grudgingly developing feelings for against my better judgment. Romantic. I try. She kissed me again, softer this time, and then pulled back with a decisive nod that was so Jessica I wanted to laugh. Okay, here's what's going to happen. We're going to do this carefully and deliberately. Clear boundaries between business and personal, no letting our relationship affect company decisions, open communication, quarterly relationship check-ins to ensure we're on the same page. Did you just try to give our relationship a strategic plan? Of course. I'm not going to date you without a proper framework. You're insane. You like it? I really do. Epilogue. 6 months later. ConnectSphere hit 1 million users on a Tuesday. Jessica and I were in our new office, actual office space, not my apartment or the library, when the notification came through. We'd hired a small team, 2 developers, 1 marketing person, and an intern who was somehow even more caffeinated than I was. We did it, Jessica said, staring at her screen in disbelief. You sound surprised. Where's the confidence, the statistical certainty? Shut up and let me have this moment. I rolled my chair over to hers and kissed her temple. We really did it. Yes, we did. She turned to face me. You know what this means, right? That we're going to need more servers. Well, yes, but also, she pulled out her tablet, I've prepared a presentation on our next phase of growth. Of course you have. Slide 1, current user acquisition trends. Slide 2, projected growth curves. Slide 3, I kissed her, effectively stopping the presentation. Rude, she said when we broke apart. I worked hard on this. I know. You work hard on everything. It's one of the things I love about you. She froze. What? And that's when I realized what I'd said. Love. I'd said love. We'd been together for 6 months, building a company and navigating the strange waters of being both business partners and romantic partners, and I'd never said it before. I started, but she cut me off. Say it again. Which part? You know which part. I love you, I said, and it was easier the second time. I love that you make presentations about everything. I love that you still order the same coffee every time. I love that you stayed with me all day when the platform crashed. I love that you believe in this company as much as I do. She kissed me again, and this time there was something desperate in it, something that felt like relief. I love you too, she said against my lips, even though you're a disaster who eats nothing but garbage and makes terrible jokes. That's the most romantic thing you've ever said to me. I'm working on it. I'm not great at this stuff. You're perfect at this stuff. You're perfect at everything. Now you're just lying. Never. Our intern chose that moment to walk in, saw us, and immediately backed out again. Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt, just wanted to say congrats on the 1,000,000 users. Okay, bye. We laughed, and Jessica rested her forehead against mine. We're really doing this, she said. The company, us, all of it. Having second thoughts? Not even for a second. Good, because I'm pretty sure you're stuck with me now. Business partner, romantic partner, life partner. I'm collecting all the partner tights. Is that a proposal? What? No. I mean, not that I wouldn't. I just meant... She was laughing at me now, and I realized she was messing with me. You're evil. You love it. I really do. And I did. I loved all of it. The work, the stress, the late nights and the early mornings, the constant challenge of building something from nothing. Hey, Jessica. Yeah? Thank you for spilling coffee on you. You mean thank you for you spilling coffee on me. Agree to disagree. She kissed me again, and somewhere in the office, our team started cheering about the 1,000,000 user milestone. We'd have to go out there and celebrate with them, make speeches, plan our next moves. But for now, just for this moment, it was just us. The orphan and the ice queen, the coder and the strategist. The worst partnership that somehow became the best thing that ever happened to either of us. Hey, Jessica. Yeah? Thank you for spilling coffee on you. You mean thank you for you spilling coffee on me. Agree to disagree. She kissed me again, and somewhere in the office, our team started cheering about the 1,000,000 user milestone. We'd have to go out there and celebrate with them, make speeches, plan our next moves. But for now, just for this moment, it was just us. The orphan and the ice queen, the coder and the strategist. The worst partnership that somehow became the best thing that ever happened to either of us. Come on, Jessica said, standing up and pulling me with her. We have a team to celebrate with and a company to run. And later? Later we can go to Pete's and eat terrible food, and you can make fun of my love of The Bachelor. It's a date. It's always a date. And with that, we walked out of our office together, ready to face whatever came next. The success, the challenges, the uncertain future of a startup that might fail or might change everything. But we'd face it together. That was the deal. That was the partnership. And neither of us would have had it any other way. The end.
I love making these videos for you. If you liked this story, then please like, subscribe to my channel, and switch on the notifications for more entertaining stories. Please also leave a comment for any story suggestions.